Hi guys, welcome to Sudeep, and I hope each and every one of you are doing really good. Now this video is mainly to address one of the most critical challenge for any UPSC aspirant, and that is how to prepare notes for UPSC mains exam. Now from the month of August till December, this is called the phase of mains preparation. Most of the UPSC aspirants, my student community included, will start preparing for mains during this months. Now when I say mains preparation, it involves three verticals. The first is preparing notes for GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4 and then writing a lot of tests. The second is writing as many essays as possible. The third is preparing their optionals thoroughly. So amongst the three verticals, the most critical challenge for any UPSC aspirant is the mains notes making. Because when I interacted with a lot of my student community, there are two categories of students that I found. The first category is those students who do not believe in note making. They believe that by taking external sources, magazines, toppers notes, they can circumvent the process of note making, they can save a lot of time, and by that they can revise more and write a lot of tests. So this is one category. Whereas you have the second category. The second category of students are those who have been preparing notes for a very long time, but they have still not completed the syllabus. The coverage of syllabus is very low. The reason for this is they are perfectionists. Whenever they take a point in the syllabus and start making notes, they feel that they have to add more and more content because they are always unsatisfied. They always strive for perfection because they're insecure inside that is the content enough for UPSC exam, and that insecurity will always keep them trying to add newer materials and they will never complete the syllabus. So most of the students that I meet either fall in the category 1 where they don't want to make notes, they want to circumvent the process to get some easy way out, or there is another category that they fall into where they want to make perfect notes, and in that endeavor they try to spend months together to create that perfect notes and end up not completing the syllabus at all. Now if you are a student who's already in either of the two categories, you are already stuck in a trap, and if you want to come out of this trap, please listen to this video till the end, because this mains syllabus, to simplify this main syllabus to help you make notes, is something that is not easy, and SUDEEPVERSE, I have tried my level best to make sure that it is as easy as possible to you people. It is broken down in such simple steps that you will be able to go on to make notes within a limited time span. And if you are interested and if you are really eager and committed and diligent, then please make sure that you watch this video till the end. Now the first thing I want you to do is look at the syllabus of all the 4 GS papers. Now if you don't have the syllabus with you, you can go to my Telegram channel and download it. I've already pinned the syllabus in my Telegram channel, and the link to my Telegram channel is in the description. Now if you have the syllabus with you already, that is also fine. Just make sure that you look at the original syllabus given by UPSC in UPSC notification. So if you want that, you just go to my Telegram channel and you can download it. Now if you have downloaded it and if you're looking at the syllabus, now look at the syllabus carefully of all the 4 papers. You can open 4 tabs and look at the 4 syllabus. Now the syllabus in UPSC mains exam is always given in the format of bullet points. Look at them very carefully. The GS1 paper has 12 bullet points. The GS2 paper has 20 bullet points. The GS3 paper has 20 bullet points. And look carefully, the GS4 syllabus has 8 bullet points at the outset. But if you look at the paragraph and break those paragraphs, you actually have 26 bullet points. So if you have downloaded my syllabus from my Telegram channel, you will look at that 26 syllabus points clearly. Alright, so please go ahead and download it if you want to. But overall, these are the broader bullet points that should serve as a reference for you to cover the syllabus. Whenever I ask you what is the coverage of syllabus, you should always tell me that I have covered these many bullet points in paper 1, these many bullet points in paper 2, these many bullet points in paper 3. That is actually the proper way of assessing your progress in your mains syllabus coverage for note making. The second very important critical factor that many people fall is, remember this carefully, you should never approach the mains syllabus from subject point of view. You should always approach the mains syllabus from section point of view. What do I mean by this? If I have to illustrate GS1 has 3 sections. The first section is history, the second section is society, and the third section is geography. From history, you will get 6 questions, and from society you will get 6 questions, whereas from geography you will get 8 questions. To give you the marking distribution, from geography you are going to get 100 marks, from society you are going to get 75 marks, and from history you are going to get 75 marks. Okay, now look at this. These are the 3 sections. But let us say that you want to approach subject wise. Within a section called history, that history 1 section has 6 subjects. Look at this. You have ancient, you have medieval, you have art and culture, modern India, post-independence, world history. So if you approach subject wise, and if you feel that I have read 6 subjects, you have just covered one section. So you may end up writing just 6 questions in GS1. That is why never approach the GS syllabus or GS mains syllabus from subject point of view. You should always approach from section point of view. So I hope you understood exactly why you should always approach section wise and not subject wise. Alright, now let me just illustrate to you all the sections that are there in the mains GS paper. In GS1 you have history, society and geography. These are the 3 sections. In paper 2 you have polity and constitution, social justice and governance and international relations. These are the 3 sections. In GS3 there are 6 sections, so look at it very carefully. Section 1 is Indian economy and inclusive development. Section 2 is agriculture, public distribution system and food processing. Section 3 is science and technology. Section 4 is environment and ecology. Section 5 is disaster and disaster management. Section 6 is internal security. So these are the 6 sections of paper 3. In paper 4, it may seem at the outset that there are only 2 sections. One is ethics theory and another is ethics case study. It is not so. Look at it carefully. There are broadly 8 sections in ethics. The 8 sections are: the first one is ethics and human interface. The second is human values. The third is attitude. The fourth is aptitude and foundational values of civil services. The fifth is contribution of moral thinkers and philosophers from India and the world. The sixth is probity in governance. The seventh is ethics in public administration as well as public service values. And the eighth is case studies. These are the 8 sections that are there in your GS4 paper. So now I have spoken about bullet points. The entire syllabus of mains papers are divided into bullet points, and I also told that the entire GS paper is divided into sections. Now let me integrate the sections and the bullet points together. Look at this very carefully. If you take GS paper 1, I told you that there are 3 sections. You have history, society and geography. Now history has 5 bullet points, society has 4 bullet points and geography has 3 bullet points. See how I am integrating them. Now if you have downloaded the syllabus from my Telegram channel, you can see those bullet points already segregated. I have done it for you. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to do it on your own, that is also fine. Just make sure that when you're looking at this, you have the syllabus in front of you. That is very important. Now let us go to GS2 and integrate the same sections with bullet points. If you take a section of Indian polity and constitution, you have 9 bullet points. Then you have social justice and governance, you have 7 bullet points, and international relations, you have 4 bullet points. Now if you take GS3, let us integrate the bullet points with the sections. In the beginning I told you that GS3 has 6 sections. So the first section is Indian economy and inclusive development, which has 6 bullet points. Then second section is agriculture, food processing and public distribution system. This has 4 bullet points. Then you have science and technology, that has 3 bullet points. Then environment and ecology has 1 bullet point. Disaster and disaster management has 1 bullet point. Then comes internal security, that has 5 bullet points. So this is the section wise bullet point distribution within GS3. Now let us integrate the bullet points into the sections of GS4 paper. As I told you that there are 8 sections in GS4. Look at the integration of bullet points into these sections. The first is ethics and human interface. There are 3 bullet points. The second is human values. There are 2 bullet points. The third is attitude. There are 4 bullet points. The fourth is aptitude. There are 2 bullet points. The next is emotional intelligence. There are 2 bullet points. After that comes ethics in public administration and public service values. There are 7 bullet points. Probity in governance. There are 11 bullet points. So overall, these are the sections and these are the bullet points I have integrated within the sections of ethics. Now this you can find if you have downloaded my syllabus that I have put it in the Telegram channel. In the UPSC syllabus, they have written it in paragraphs. I have just broken them down and created bullet points so that it becomes simpler for you to cover as well as for you to make notes. So if you can download, then that is good. If you can do it on your own, that's even better. So overall, you have learned how to take the main syllabus, look at the main syllabus from section point of view, and how to integrate the bullet points into the section to always track the progress of your section completion by completing all the bullet points within that section. So whenever you say you have completed the section of history, it means that you should complete the 5 bullet points that are there inside history. Whenever you say you have completed polity and constitution, you should have completed the 9 bullet points that are inside polity and constitution. Whenever you say you have completed Indian economy and inclusive development, you should always complete the 6 bullet points that are there inside that section. So this is how you should exactly track your progress whenever you are making notes, whenever you want to revise, whenever you want to take mock tests. This is how you should always practice, that is through sections, and your coverage should happen through the bullet points inside the sections. So I hope this is a lesson that you have learned, and this is what you will follow to assess your progress in the mains syllabus for your mains exam. Now you have learned what is the sections within the GS paper, and you have also learned what are the bullet points inside those sections that you have to track to assess your progress in your mains syllabus. Now comes the next part where you have to take the bullet points and start making notes, and this is where the challenge lies. Why do I say that this is where the challenge lies is because every bullet point is different and every bullet point requires different approach to make notes, and this is where many of the students who are preparing for the main syllabus are not able to make notes because they cannot understand what is the demand of that particular bullet point and then adapt accordingly in making notes. They are trying to take one single approach and try to make notes for all the bullet points in the same way. This is the challenge, and this is where I'm going to address it, and I'm going to make it as simple as possible for all my student community across India. Now this is called SUDEEPVERSE approach. Look at this very carefully. Now if you take any bullet points from the syllabus, you will be able to classify any bullet points of any GS paper into these 4 types of bullet points. These 4 types of bullet points can be classified as: 1, subject based bullet point, the second is chapter based bullet point, the third is type based bullet point, and the fourth is issue based bullet point. Now let me illustrate by giving one example for each type of bullet point. Whenever I say subject based bullet point, in your GS1 paper, look at the bullet point number 1. The bullet point number 1 says the salient features of art forms, literature and architecture from ancient to modern times. If you take this bullet point is very broad. It requires you to read subjects. Now if you take this bullet point, if you have to finish this bullet point, you have to finish your ancient India and art and culture, your medieval India and art and culture. So overall there is 2 subjects for you to finish if you want to finish this bullet point. That is why you can categorize this under subject based bullet points. To illustrate further this subject based bullet points, look at bullet point 2 and bullet point 3 in your GS1 syllabus. Bullet point 2 says, from the middle of 18th century up to the present, significant events, personalities and issues. Okay, that bullet point also requires you to study an entire subject. Look at the third bullet point. It says freedom struggle with important stages and important contributions from different parts of the world. Look at this. The bullet point 2 and bullet point 3 requires you to read the entire modern India. So again, these are bullet points which requires you to read the entire subject. That is why you should always put this under subject based bullet points. The second type of bullet point is chapter based bullet point. When I say chapter based bullet point, it means to complete that bullet point you have to read a particular chapter. Okay, let me illustrate by giving 2 examples. The first is, look at GS2 syllabus. In GS2 syllabus, look at bullet point 5. The bullet point 5 says Parliament and state legislature, structure, functioning, conduct of business, powers and privileges, issues arising thereof. So to complete this, you have to read the chapter of Parliament. To complete this, you have to read the chapter of state legislature. And so to complete such type of bullet points, you should always put them under chapter based bullet points. To give you another illustration of chapter based bullet points, look at GS4 paper. In GS4 paper, look at the third section, that is attitude. In attitude, you mainly have 4 things to cover. The first is content, structure and function. The second is the relation and influence of attitude over behavior and thought. The third is moral and political attitude. And the fourth is social influence and persuasion. Now to complete this attitude, you have to read the chapter of attitude. Once you read the chapter of attitude, that means you have completed the bullet point of attitude, and that is again an example of chapter based bullet point. The third type of bullet point is type based bullet point. What is type based bullet point? Whenever the bullet point that they have given can be branched out into several subtypes. That is, whenever the bullet point or the context is very broad and you can bring out several different branches from that broader topic, then that is known as type based bullet point. Let me give you an illustration. The first illustration is, go to GS paper 2, and in GS paper 2 look at the bullet point 8. The 8th bullet point says that you have to learn about powers, functions, roles, responsibilities of constitutional bodies. Whenever they say constitutional bodies, it becomes a broader topic, and from which you can actually create different branches like Election Commission of India, Finance Commission, GST Council, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, National Commission on SCs, STs, OBCs. Look at this, Special Officer for Linguistic Minorities. These are different types under constitutional bodies. So this comes under the type based bullet point. Now let me give you another illustration of type based bullet point. Go to GS paper 3. In GS paper 3, look at the 11th bullet point. The 11th bullet point is science and technology, developments, applications and its effect on everyday life. Now when I said science and technology, I can branch out into several subtypes, like it can be space technology, it can be information and communication technology, it can be agricultural technology, energy technology, defense technology, nanotechnology, biotechnology. Look at this, how I can branch out from one topic. I can branch out different subtypes. Whenever you get such bullet points, you should always put them under type based bullet points. And the fourth type of bullet point that you commonly seen in the main syllabus is issue based bullet point. Now there are many issue based bullet points in the main syllabus. Let me give you an illustration. In GS1, if you can see the society section, there you have globalization and its impact on Indian society. That is an issue based bullet point. Then you have social empowerment, communalism, regionalism and secularism. That is another issue based bullet point. Now come to social justice and governance. In social justice and governance, most of the bullet points are issue based. Look at this, issues of poverty and hunger. That is a issue based bullet point. Another example I'll give you, see, role of civil services in democracy. Look at this, that is also an issue based bullet point. Now go to paper 3. In paper 3 you have issues like inclusive growth and issues arising from it. That is an issue based bullet point. Then you have land reforms in India. That is again an issue based bullet point. Like this, there are many issues where you can prepare notes very easily. However, whenever you know that that bullet point is talking about a particular issue, then you can put those bullet points under the classification of issue based bullet points. Now this is the SUDEEPVERSE approach towards mains syllabus. That means you are going to take all the bullet points and classify them on either of the 4 types. They are one, either subject based, chapter based, type based or issue based. Now I have already done this classification for you. If you have gone to my Telegram channel and downloaded the syllabus from my Telegram channel, I have already classified all the bullet points in all the papers on the basis of these 4 divisions. So that will make your job easier. But even then, if you want to go ahead and try yourself, that is also a good thing. So you can go ahead and try yourself to segregate all the bullet points in all the papers under these 4 broader headings, that is subject based, chapter based, type based and issue based. Alright, so now before we proceed, let me just show you how I have customized the bullet points of UPSC mains syllabus into my own approach of classifying them into these 4 types. Okay, let me show it to you on the screen very quickly. You can definitely go ahead and download that from my Telegram channel. The link is in the description and you can look at the same classification, but let me show it very quickly so that there is continuance in the way you look at what is happening. Okay, now look at this. On the screen you're seeing GS paper 1. In GS paper 1 you have history. Now look at that history, there are 5 bullet points and I have already classified on the basis of what type of approach that I want to adopt to create notes for it. So you can see that history has majoritively subject based approach. Okay, then you have society. Look at society, these are the bullet points. This is the approach that I have already classified. Alright, if you look at society, they are mainly either issue based or chapter based. Then if you go to geography, look at geography again, there are 3 bullet points, but the 3 bullet points actually are very broad and they actually demand subject based approach. Now you have understood how to look at the syllabus from the point of view of bullet points. Second, you have also understood how to look at the syllabus from the point of view of sections. You have integrated those bullet points into the sections in every paper. And finally, you have taken those bullet points and you have classified them on the basis of what approach you are going to take to prepare notes for that syllabus bullet point. Now you can ask me that why is it necessary for us to classify the bullet points that is already classified section wise in the UPSC main syllabus to again reclassify it under subject based, chapter based, type based and issue based. The reason is very simple. Inside a section, there will be few bullet points that demands you to read a subject. There will be a few bullet points that just requires you to make notes on a particular issue. There will be few bullet points where you have to generate subtypes and then make notes upon. So inside the sections, there are different bullet points that demand different approaches. And if you want to understand the approach that you have to take for that particular bullet point within a particular section, then you should always group all those bullet points under these broad approaches or types that I am giving you, and hence making this becomes very, very important. Now you understood the importance of mapping all the bullet points within your GS paper to the broader categories that I have given you, because these categories are different approaches that you have to adapt while making notes for that particular bullet point. So now either you can go ahead and start mapping your bullet points in every GS paper accordingly with these 4 broad approaches, or you can go to my Telegram channel where you can get the syllabus that is already mapped with all the bullet points to these 4 broader approaches. So you can go ahead and do that now itself, and if you can do that, you can download and you can see I've taken all the bullet points and I've mapped them either to subject based, chapter based, issue based, as well as type based. So you can see clearly that will actually make your job much easier. Alright, now we have taken all the bullet points from all the GS papers and we have classified all the bullet points under these broad 4 bucket types, that is subject based, chapter based, type based and issue based. And the next question that you should ask me is, now how do I go about creating notes for the mains syllabus? Let me give you one illustration for each bucket type. That is, I will give you one illustration for subject based, one for chapter based, one for type based, as well as one for issue based, so that you understand that and you apply that to make your own notes for all the bullet points in the syllabus. Now for the subject based bullet point, I am going to illustrate taking the bullet point of GS paper 1 bullet point number 1. So the bullet point number 1 is the salient features of art forms, literature and architecture from ancient to modern times. Because it is a subject based bullet point, broadly you have to read 3 subjects for this one bullet point, and the 3 subjects are ancient India, medieval India and art and culture. Now amongst the 3 subjects, let us focus on first subject, that is ancient India. Now always when you take the subject based bullet point, list down the subject. Usually there will be one subject, but only in this bullet point there are 3 subjects, so don't worry about it. Now if you take these 3 subjects, let us take one ancient India just for illustrative purposes. If I take ancient India, now you should list down all the chapters that comes under ancient India. So if you take ancient India, these are the chapters that are important for the mains perspective from ancient India. That is, if you look at this, it has first Indus Valley civilization. The second, it has Vedic age, which can be divided into early Vedic age and later Vedic age. Later Vedic age is what is known as Janapadas. The third, you have the age of Mahajanapadas, then you have Magadhas, then you have the age of Mauryans, then you have the Sangam age, that is the Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas, then you have the emergence of Indo-Greeks, Parthians, Shakas and Kushanas, after that you have the Shungas and Kanvas and the Satavahanas, and after that you have the age of Guptas, and then comes post-Gupta age, and after that you have the reign of Arshavardhana, Pallavas of Mahabalipuram and Chalukyas of Badami. Now look at this. These are the chapters that are there in the ancient India. So now you have taken that subject, and under that subject you have listed down all the chapters. Now this is what you have to do. Take one chapter, let us say Indus Valley civilization, and create all the probable questions that can come from Indus Valley civilization. It should not be more than 5 or 6. If you are making more than 5 or 6, you are making it unnecessarily too detailed. It is not necessary. The maximum per chapter can be 5 questions. So you can make 5 probable questions that can come from Indus Valley. After making that question, go to the next chapter, for example Vedic age. There also create 5 probable questions from Vedic age. Go to the next chapter, that is Mahajanapadas. Like that, every chapter you go, make 5 probable questions that can come in UPSC. Once you are done with the entire question bank of all the ancient India, start writing answers to it. Now you can see and write answers because you are anyway making notes, but make sure that you are writing the answers with not more than 500 words. It should not be more than 500 words. It should be less than 500 words. And whenever you make notes, there should be less English and more content. When I say content, it has to have facts, personalities, events, examples, case studies, quotations, any historians who have spoken about it. All these things should be there. It should not be English that should be written there. So keep that in your mind, and you can go ahead and make notes of all the questions that you have created chapter wise. Now let me just illustrate to you by taking Indus Valley civilization. So in the screen you're seeing now the Indus Valley civilization as a chapter. Now you can see that in Indus Valley civilization you have 5 questions that I have created. The first is discuss the town planning features of Indus Valley civilization. The second is highlight the salient features of Indus Valley art and craft. The third is to what extent can the Indus Valley civilization be considered a proto-urban culture. The fourth is what lessons can modern Indian cities learn from the urban planning of the Indus Valley civilization. And the fifth is discuss the salient features of the Harappan architecture. So as you can see, these are the 5 probable questions that I have created for Indus Valley civilization. To actually be very truthful, the 5th question has actually come in this year's mains exam of GS1. But anyways, that barring apart, these are the 5 probable questions that can come from Indus Valley civilization, and it predominantly covers the entire Indus Valley. So I have created the questions in such a way that I have tried to cover all the angles from which UPSC can ask questions from Indus Valley civilization. So like that, you can take 5 questions from every chapter and create those questions in such a way that it covers all angles such that UPSC asks in any way, you should be able to answer. So like this, if you can prepare, there are questions that have come from Pallavas, there are questions that have come from Cholas, there are questions that have come from Guptas, and all these questions are very direct questions. And if you have prepared your notes like this, you could have written a very good answer, and you will write a very good answer answer if you prepare like this for the upcoming mains 2026. So I hope that you understood how to make notes for subject-based bullet points. Always take the subject, break the subject into several chapters, take a chapter, divide that chapter into several questions and write answers to that questions. You're done with that chapter, go to the next chapter. Like that, finish all the chapters, you're done with the subject. So if you can do this, that means that you have covered the entire subject in the matter of just 50 to 60 questions, and that exactly is the approach that is needed to prepare notes, especially for the bullet points that requires you to read the entire subject. So if you can prepare like this, believe me that you can revise many number of times and you can write the best answers possible in the mains exam. So for the subject based, I hope that you got clarity of how to go about making mains notes. Now the second type of bullet points are chapter based bullet points. What does chapter based bullet point mean? You have to read a chapter to understand the entire essence of that bullet point. For example, let me illustrate to you the Parliament. This is the fifth bullet point in the GS2 paper, and the fifth bullet point reads Parliament and State Legislature, structure, function, conduct of business, powers and privileges and issues arising from it. Alright, now this Parliament and State Legislature are chapters in your polity. So here you have two chapters, Parliament and State Legislature. So let me illustrate by taking Parliament as a chapter. So after reading Parliament as a chapter, now from that Parliament as a chapter you have to create probable questions. Let me show you on the screen the probable questions that I have created for Parliament. Now you are looking at the chapter of Parliament and the probable questions that I have created. Look at the questions. Evaluate the legislative, financial and oversight functions of the Parliament. Discuss how Parliament ensures executive accountability. Examine the effectiveness of parliamentary committees in strengthening democracy. Critically evaluate the declining productivity of Parliament and its causes. Discuss the issue of disruptions in Parliament and suggest reforms. Analyze the role of anti-defection law in ensuring parliamentary discipline. Examine the challenges in balancing parliamentary privileges with accountability. Examine the relevance of simultaneous elections in improving parliamentary efficiency. Examine the powers and functions of the Speaker of Lok Sabha in ensuring parliamentary discipline. Discuss the constitutional provisions related to the officer of the Deputy Speaker of Lok Sabha. Critically evaluate the dual role of the Vice President as ex officio Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. Compare the powers of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha in legislative, financial and control matters. Look at this. I have generated 12 questions for this chapter of Parliament, and if I create model answers on all the 12 questions, my notes on that bullet point called Parliament will be completely done. Now one thing, if you have observed from the subject based bucket list and the chapter based bucket list, in the subject based bucket list, because there are a lot of chapters that you have to make notes upon, you cannot generate more than 5 questions per chapter, otherwise it becomes too much. But here when you go for bullet points that are coming in the bucket list of chapter based, here you can go ahead and make as many questions as possible to cover the chapter properly, and that is okay. Alright, with that illustration, I hope it is now simplified how to go about making notes for those bullet points that are coming under the bucket list of chapter based. Now let us go to the third type, and that is the type based bullet point. Let me first illustrate to you the 8th bullet point in your GS2 paper. The 8th bullet point in your GS2 paper is powers, functions, roles, responsibilities of constitutional bodies, various constitutional bodies. Okay, now if you take this, now on the screen you're looking at the table. Look at this. If you fill this table, the entire bullet point is done. Now if you're looking at the table, I have created a table on your y-axis. You have all the constitutional bodies. You have Election Commission of India, you have Finance Commission, you have Comptroller and Auditor General of India, you have National Commission on Scheduled Tribes, National Commission on Scheduled Caste, National Commission on Other Backward Classes, then you have Special Officer on Linguistic Minorities, and then you also have GST Council. These are all the constitutional bodies that you can see in the table along the y-axis. On the x-axis you have introduction, roles, responsibilities, powers and functions, you have issues and challenges, and you have conclusions. So if you can fill this, if you can fill the x-axis and cover all the constitutional bodies which are there along the y-axis, you are done with that bullet point which asks you about various constitutional bodies. Look at this. This is how easy it becomes when you segregate or branch out the different subtypes under the broader heading of constitutional bodies. This is about type-based bullet points. This is a little tricky, so let me illustrate with another bullet point. If you look at the 11th bullet point in the GS3 paper, it says science and technology, development, applications and their effect on everyday life. Alright, now again this comes under the bucket of type based bullet point. Now here look at the table that I am showing you on the screen. I have already segregated the domains of science and technology as information technology, space technology, biotechnology, nanotechnology, robotics, nuclear technology, defense technology, energy technology, agricultural technology, environmental technology. These are some of the branches of the broader heading called science and technology that you can observe. Now look at this. After branching out the subtypes, now on the right side I am going to bring the important developments that is happening in those subtypes. As you can see now, in information technology, you can see smart cities, cyber security, digital economy and governance. In space technology, you can see satellites, remote sensing, navigation and exploration missions. In biotechnology, there is GM crops, vaccines, stem cells, genome editing. Nanotechnology, you have nanomedicines, nanomaterials, environmental cleanup. Robotics, you have industry, defense, drones, driverless cars. Nuclear technology, you have energy generation, medical use, agriculture. Defense technology, you have missiles, cyber defense, indigenous defense. Then you have energy technology, you have renewable energy, hydrogen, battery storage. And agricultural technology, you have precision farming, agri drones, biotech, crops. So basically, I have taken science and technology. I have listed out the different types of science and technology, and then on the right side, I have also listed out the developments that has happened in those subtypes of science and technology. Now I'm going to create one question and one answer on every development and achievement. Now, if you can do the questions and answers for all the developments that you have listed out in the table, you will more or less have the content to write a good answer in the science and technology part in your mains exam, and this I can assure you. So I hope that you understood how to go about making notes for type based bullet points. You have to list down the subtypes, and on the subtypes you have to create questions, and then you can go ahead and create answers. Or you can also use the table approach, where the table will list down the subtypes and try to cover all the dimensions that can be used in the answer within the table itself. So I've tried to illustrate both the examples, and I hope you got clarity of how to deal with the type based bullet points in your syllabus of UPSC mains. The last is the issue based bullet point. Now the issue based bullet point is that bullet point is talking about a particular issue. The issue can be the effect of globalization on Indian society. The issue can be secularism, regionalism and communalism in India. The issue can be land reforms in India. The issue can be as direct as poverty and health. So these are all issues. You don't have to read any book for it. You don't have to read any chapter for it. You can refer the internet directly. So here also the best approach is, when you take an issue, you can either create one question or you can create multiple questions and write answers to it and cover the issues comprehensively. Now let me take up an issue and illustrate how to generate notes on issue based bullet point. Let us take the 7th bullet point in GS3 paper, that is land reforms in India. Okay, so if the issue is land reforms in India, look at the screen. These are the questions that I have developed. The first question is, what do you understand about land reforms? Explain their significance in India's socio-economic development. The second is, trace the historical evolution of land reforms in India since independence. The third is, evaluate the effectiveness of land ceiling laws in reducing inequality in land ownership. The fourth is, discuss the importance of consolidation of land holdings for agricultural productivity. The fifth is, how has digitization of land records changed the landscape of land reforms in recent years. The sixth is, discuss the challenges of fragmented land holdings for modern agriculture. And the seventh is, how does landlessness contribute to rural poverty and inequality in India. So overall, I have created 7 different types of questions for land reforms in India, and if I can write model answers for these 7 questions, let them ask any question in UPSC mains on land reforms, I'll be able to write a very good answer. And that is the ease with which you will prepare for issue based bullet points. Now the difference between issue based bullet point and chapter based bullet point is, chapter based bullet points want you to read the chapter as a whole. That one chapter may have several topics, but issue based bullet point is just one topic. It is dealing with that topic on a particular issue, and hence it will be much more simpler compared to chapter based bullet points. That's the difference between chapter based and issue based bullet points. Finally guys, I hope that I can see the clarity in your mind of how to go about making the mains notes for the upcoming mains exam 2026. We have learned to look at the syllabus of GS papers in the lens of bullet points. We have taken the sections within the paper and integrated the bullet points into that sections. We have taken all the bullet points and classified into 4 bucket lists, that is subject based, chapter based, type based and issue based. We have learned 4 different approaches of making notes for mains. One is subject based approach, chapter based approach, type based approach and issue based approach. So I hope up to this point it is crystal clear of how to go about making the mains notes for the upcoming UPSC mains 2026. Now the last part is very important. Listen to this carefully, because if you don't follow these instructions, your note making will still not be simplified. The first thing that you should always keep in your mind is, whenever you want to make a note on a particular topic, the notes for the topic should never go above 500 words. 500 words should always be the limit up to which you will make notes. You should not make notes above 500 words. If you are making notes above 500 words, you are writing English and you are not writing content. Content is required for mains, not English. Let me illustrate to you the difference between English and content. Look at this. If you are looking at the screen, a write-up on Parliament. Look at the write-up. This write-up has very less value addition. It has more English. So stop making notes like this. Now look at the screen. I'm going to show you the content part of the same topic called Parliament. Look at this. If you're looking at this, the same topic called Parliament, I have less English but more content. When I say content, it has to have introductions, conclusions, case studies, examples, dimensions, keywords, any thinkers, philosophers, any reports, committees. These are the things that should be there. It should not be the English. English you will eventually write when you practice your mock tests, when you go to the exam and write. It is always the content that should be there, and the content is what should make up your notes, and that content should not exceed 500 words, and this is the first golden rule. The next golden rule is how many days should I spend making notes for a particular bullet point. Now look at this. If you take subject based bullet point, the maximum that you can give or allot is 4 days. That is 4 days you should be able to complete one entire subject based bullet point. Now, if you take chapter based, one chapter based bullet point, the maximum time that you can allot is 1 day. In 1 day, you should be able to complete the chapter based bullet point. If you take the type based or issue based bullet point, you should be able to cover at least 3 type based or 3 issues in 1 day. So this is the maximum time limit that you should allot in completing the notes. Otherwise, you are just elaborating it, or otherwise you are chasing perfection. Both are bad. So follow these time limits when you are making notes, and this is the second golden rule. The third golden rule is you have to make notes by writing on your own. You cannot make it on iPad. You cannot copy paste it. You cannot use any reference. You cannot use your friend's notes. You cannot tell anyone to make. You cannot divide the work and then take the notes. All this will not work. You have to sit and do it on your own. When you write on your own, you will internalize the content, and that content can easily be replicable when you're writing the answers. So make sure that you write on your own, and this is mandatory, and this you have to do. The fourth golden rule is it is going to take time, let it take time. Don't try to circumvent the process. Don't feel that it's taking too much time. The first round of finishing all the bullet points will take time, but the second round of revising all the bullet points will be very, very easy for those people who have worked hard and completed their own notes on all the bullet points. The next golden rule is please don't chase perfection. Trying to achieve perfect notes is itself a trap. If you keep making notes, you will not be able to revise them. You will not be able to write a lot of tests. So please don't make perfect notes. I'm telling you, give yourself a limited time and try to make whatever notes is possible. You should have something about everything. That is better rather than having everything about something. So please don't chase perfection. Keep a deadline. The deadline is by the end of October or by the end of December, your mains notes should be complete. That should be your goal, and make sure that you try to achieve it. Even though you have skipped 1 or 2 bullet points, even though you have skipped 1 or 2 topics here and there, that is completely fine. The next question comes, once your base notes is done, how to make sure that you keep value adding to that notes. The value addition should come through the newspapers that you read and the tests that you write. The base notes is there for you to revise. Once you revise, you should be able to go and write the test. For example, let us say you have created a very compact notes for society. You will be able to complete the entire section of society in the matter of just 2 days if you have done the notes by yourself. So if you can finish the entire section of society in 2 days, imagine how many tests you can write on society. If you can finish the entire geography paper or the geography section in 3 days, imagine how many tests you can write. That is the advantage of having your own notes. So value addition should always happen either by reading newspapers and then adding value to it, or by writing test and then looking at the synopsis and adding value to your notes. It should never happen by reading new materials or by reading new books. If you're doing that, you're following a wrong strategy. So these are the golden rules that you have to mandatorily follow if you want to prepare proper notes for the upcoming mains 2026. To all my students who are watching this video till this moment, from the beginning, I applaud your diligence and commitment. I appreciate your sincerity, and for you students who are part of my core student community, I'm bringing an exclusive video that is going to be released on Monday. If you are ready for it, please in the comment section post I am ready, and that will give me the enthusiasm and the energy to push myself to release a video on Monday, which is going to be a breakthrough for your mains preparation. Anyways guys, I hope that this video was helpful. This is the first time in the entire country that someone has deciphered and simplified the way you can prepare notes for the mains syllabus. So I hope that you will make good use of it. I hope that you will work really hard, and I hope by the end of December you will be done with all your base notes and will be ready to write a lot of tests. One last request that I always do is, like, subscribe, and more importantly, please share this video with as many people as possible, because the more views we get, the more incentivized we are to bring such innovative programs for you on a regular basis. Thank you so much for all the love and support, guys. One thing you can always expect from us is we'll always try to take complicated things and try to simplify them for our student community. We'll not circumvent the process. We love challenges. We'll take anything that is complicated and simplify it only for our student community, because we want them to succeed, and that is our sole purpose and sole goal. I'll meet you again, guys. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Bye.